Good afternoon everyone, my name is Michelle. I hope you're doing well, and not often that I speak to camera unless I'm going live, but this is a 2 video day, so I thought I'd mix it up a bit. I just want to give you some quick updates about the Dylan Rounds case. So if you've been following the case, you'll know that Dylan is 19 years old. He's been missing from his farm in Lucin, Utah. Last spoken to by anybody, last proof of life was him speaking to his grandmother in the early morning, about 6:50 of the 28th of May, and he has not been seen since. So a lot's been going down in this case, some of it drama, I guess, you know, this person calling that person and all that. Not speaking about any of that in this video. I just want to stick purely to the facts of the case. And there's been kind of a few potential suspects, suspects that we on social media have been calling suspects. I don't know what law enforcement calls them, if anything. The first people I was looking at were the Wadsworth brothers, particularly Kurt Wadsworth, because he's a friend of Dylan, spends a lot of time with Dylan, allows Dylan to stay at his motorhome camper in Montello, and Dylan goes and eats and drinks at the bar, the Saddle Sore bar in Montello that Kurt manages. So usually when we're talking about the disappearance of someone and we're considering it a criminal investigation, you look at the people that are closest to the victim first. Kurt has come out and he's spoken on a YouTube channel. He's a well-spoken guy. He answered all the questions. That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't take him off my suspect list just because he seems like a nice guy who can string a sentence together. Nah, I'm not easily swayed in that way by people. However, I think there's someone else who is higher up on my suspect list than Kurt now. Kurt's gone down. And Kurt is out walking free. He's been questioned by the FBI. He's not been taken in, unlike some other people in Dylan's life. So Chase Venstra, the guy who was beaten and bloody, who he picked up in the desert a few days before he disappeared, he told his mother about this person that he saw walking, no shoes, blood on him in the desert. But he lied to his mother and said that he didn't pick him up and give him a lift back into town. He did actually pick him up and give him a lift into town. Now, the police arrested Chase on an unrelated charge, a pre-existing warrant, and took him in. And as far as I know, he's still in jail. So they've got him in the bag. Then Chase's friend, Robert Avalis, I think his surname is, he was also arrested and taken in. Now, I don't know very much about this Robert guy. I don't know whether he even knows Dylan. I assume he does. Taken in on an unrelated charge. Kept in there. Kept in the bag. But there's someone else who knows Dylan, and someone else who is very close to Dylan, and that is someone called Jim. Now, we heard Dylan's mother, Candice, talk about Jim and Don back in the kind of early first few interviews she did. Don and Jim work for Dylan occasionally. Don and Dylan had an argument a few weeks before his disappearance, which resulted in Dylan saying, "You're not working on my farm anymore." But he's been named in court papers. The initials are DH, but it is Don. But the person in question, the person who's been arrested, is someone called James Brenner. And he is, he's got some property himself, I think further towards the Nevada border, I believe. These are all just things that are being said on the internet, right? And allegedly, Jim was staying in a trailer owned by Don. And in this trailer were some weapons, some guns, the type of guns that Jim is not supposed to have because he's a felon. Now, his criminal record is quite colourful. Jim's criminal record includes assault with intent to murder. A long time ago, but still, he's a felon, and he was arrested and taken in on these firearms charges. I want to read you something that someone posted in my Facebook group in the last few hours. And I'm not going to give their name because I don't know if they want their name out there. But this person went to Jim's preliminary hearing, or a court appearance anyway. This is what this person wrote. The federal prosecutor said that the grand jury would probably be dealing with it tomorrow, the implication being or soon after, like the next day. So the judge scheduled the preliminary hearing for Friday. Okay, so this was his initial court appearance, and he's got his preliminary hearing on Friday. So this Friday, I'm recording this Wednesday. On weapons charges, the defence asked about getting a custody hearing. Can he get bail? And the judge said they would deal with that Friday. So there is a direct connection to the state and the grand jury, which means it's about Dylan. There's no need for a grand jury on weapons charges since he's already been charged. I assume the federal charges are to do with him having weapons as a convicted felon. But I haven't read the charging documents. Chase Venstra will have an extradition hearing on Thursday because he's being transferred to the state, which escapes me at the moment, but the state in which his warrant was issued from. So I thought that was interesting, very interesting. Very interesting. The federal prosecutor, so there's a federal prosecutor for the weapons charges, but there's also a state case which is going to a grand jury. I think there's probably something in this, maybe, possibly. So we really need to keep a close eye on this James Brenner, because if the federal charges are to do with the weapons charges, from which he's already been charged, why would they need a grand jury? And what would be the thing that's going to a grand jury that's a state matter? Are you with me? It doesn't matter if you're not, because this is just a possible. This is just some information that has come to me. So we just need to wait and see if anything comes of this. And do the feds have a lot more that will link Jim directly to Dylan? Now, something else that this person in my Facebook group mentioned. So this person started a conversation and said, I went to the hearing in federal court for James Brenner. I was sitting about 8 feet behind him. He was shackled and handcuffed and wore a faded red and white striped prison uniform. He looked much the same as we've seen on video and the booking photo, and no, he's not 4 foot something. He's close to my height of 5'3". Because on some of his criminal charges, there's been, I think Zavgirl talked about this, there was something about him only being like 42 feet. Could it be 42 inches? That's only very short. However, this person here, who states he's around 5'3", so he might be an inch higher or an inch lower than 5'3". That's small for a guy, isn't it? That's short for a guy. Now, Dylan is about 5'10", and didn't Candice say that when she got in the truck, and she's only short, she's like only 5 foot, when she drives Dylan's truck, she has to move the seat forward. And didn't she say the seat was pushed forward? So someone's short. So everybody else is taller. Jim is the short one. The federal prosecutor told the judge at present there is no state charge. He said he expects the matter to be with a grand jury tomorrow, presumably on state charges. Preliminary hearing will take place Friday, 1:30, on these charges. I just realised how huge it was to be sitting there and here the federal prosecution mentioned grand jury after the subject of state charges was brought up. It's likely they will explore others' involvement. This person could be onto something, so watch this space and I will give you an update as soon as I know anything more. I've been Michelle, hope you're well, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys. Sleeping like a baby.